that are occurring and presenting themselves right now. So once it's in the news, it's kind of in the charts. And so we want to try and find things that are happening in the market. We want to catch them before they're in the news. And so that's what I was telling Jay. And I'm going to go back. Let me edit this over here real quick. And I was just telling Jay, they can't really hide anything. We might not know what's coming, but when we see the volume and different things, and a lot of people are still coming in. Let's see, where do I hit that button now? So welcome. Where is it at? Okay, I'm trying to let you in. Somebody's there. I don't see him. But I'll go back to what I was saying is in the charts, and I'll leave that up so it'll be easy. In the charts, there it is. In the charts, you'll see things starting to happen. And when you see them starting to play out, you might not know why it's happening, but if you use that as your entry, then it will help. So let me show you. I got in oil last week. I didn't know that the war was starting or any of this stuff was kicking off. But what I saw on XOM, which is Exxon, I've traded that one. That was my biggest trade last year, was XOM. And so I trade what I know. So the different oil stocks that I have up on the screen over here on my watch list, CVX is Chevron, XOM is Exxon, USO, United States Oil Fund, Oxy, and that's pretty much it. I mean, out of those three, you can retire this week. And then off of crude, depending on how big you trade it. But what I saw last week, let's look at this. June the 5th. When was June the 5th? That was a couple of weeks ago. What was last Thursday, the 12th? What's today? Today is the 17th. So it was like the 11th. Let me see, June. So it was right around this time last week, and we kind of had a late entry, but sometimes a late entry is better than no entry. So what I did was I saw that there was a lot of momentum coming into XOM. And when I saw that momentum, I'm like, man, I traded this last year. I literally traded it last year from here all the way up to all-time highs and then a drop, 2024, March. So literally I took it from, I think it was right about here, and I was in the money all the way up to here, and I got out, and then it came back. I could have stayed in. It still never came back until way over here. But once I saw that it was XOM and there were things happening, I started wanting to know, well, what's going on? I didn't know what was going on. But when you don't know what's going on and you see a chart that looks really, really good, you can always not go all in, but you could start building a position. So that's another thing I want to talk about tonight. On XOM last week, it was on the 11th. So it was right in here somewhere. I got in at 106. And I think it was the next day. So it had to have been Wednesday. It was the next day that everything kicked off. But what made me get in was when I saw this buy, I saw all this support. This line's been here for a while because I've traded this several times. So I left that line there. When I saw that line and I saw it bounce off of support, I got in immediately. And then all I wanted to see was a break of the 200-day moving average on Exxon. And I'm thinking, man, if I can get above the 200-day moving average, look over here. I got gap number 1 and I got gap number 2. Gap number 1 takes me up to 111. Gap number 2 takes me up to roughly 117. That's a nice payday. So I got in with the shares and the options, not knowing nothing about Tehran or, Iran or Israel, nothing that's going to happen, just off of the support that bounce. Because you can see all these touches right on this level, and we never broke except for when we had the craziness a few months ago. Other than that, we bounce, and then boom, we took off. And so when it's go time, and you might not know why it's doing what it's doing, but build your position lightly and then add to it as it goes up. Now we know that war is imminent. America might be jumping in, and all this stuff is going on. And so let me see in the after hours. But literally, we went from 106 to 114, and we're even green in the after hour. And the night that it first kicked off, this thing shot all the way to 117. So if I could have traded it that night, I would have took my profit at 117 when it started pulling back. So these are the kind of indicators that, hey, man, I don't know what's getting ready to happen, but something's getting ready to happen. And so when you see different things like that, you can always, get in something, and you don't have to go heavy. You ain't got to go thousands of dollars and nothing like that. Just to start a position, you might spend $100, $200, and then average in. But look at this on the daily, not one red candle yet. Today, we kind of close in a doji. And a doji is when you have the candle, the wick on either side, and the body in the middle. So that's kind of how we closed today. We went down, we went up, and we're just kind of holding right there. And in the after hours, we're still green. But I think we're going to fill that gap up to 117. I don't think all this stuff is over yet. And I was just telling Jay before you guys came on, Iran sent a message. The Iran State TV said tonight a great surprise will occur, one that the world will remember for centuries. So I don't know what that means, but listen, we got right now is a time that we need to be praying and believing God for safety around the world. But what's going to happen is going to happen. They've been fighting over there before America was America. So some of these things just have to play out. But as traders and investors, as things begin to play out and we see different structural things happening in the charts, we can say, hey, this is an opportunity. And this is an opportunity for me to make some money and some advancements for my family. Last week, we were in Pompano Beach, and right when things started popping off, I pulled over so I could be safe and got in oil. Just pull over and look, give yourself some time on your contracts, and I got in oil. And today those contracts those were the ones that I was posting into the chat. One point I was up like 100-something%, but I'm not getting out. Not right now. Not right now. So let's keep our eye on XOM. The charts will tell the story, and the volume in the charts, the open interest will also tell the story. So we definitely, like I said this morning, want to keep our eyes on XOM. Look at this. I mean, if this is not, I say delicious. This is a really nice chart right here. This is Chevron. Oh man, look at that gap. I mean, this is easy. So this right here is what we call the robbing the bank setup. I don't know if everybody here knows how to read this, but we've got, so let's go look at this. Let's break it down. So when did Chevron? Yep, last week, see all the same times these started taking off. You can see the support where it had just been sitting around 133 since we hit all these lows back in August, just sitting there, and then boom, it takes off because of what's going on. So you would be wondering, well, what's going on? Why is Chevron taking off? Why is XOM taking off? Listen, when they start taking off all together, you don't have to ask a lot of questions. If you got confluence, one's taking off. You know how they say when you see something going on, you all in the crowd somewhere and somebody start running and you start running too. Like, you ain't got to know why everybody's running. Just run with them and get the safety. And that's kind of what happened last week. Oil took off before. And that lets me know too that they're doing some insider trading, because there's no way that people would know on, I guess it was like the 9th. When did this occur? The 6th, June 6th. Let's look at Exxon. June 6th. Let's look at Oxy. June 3rd, right around the same time, 3rd, but then it took off on, yeah, basically just a little bit more early on Oxy, but look at USO. I mean, June 6th, and then USO, it's been running since May, but it actually really took off. That's June the 2nd. Where's the 6th? Right in here. So all in the same area. We got a gap up, a break above the 200, and it's party time. Now, one of the things that we want to remember when we have everything running together, at some point, people are going to take profit. So if you're trading these, or if you're thinking about getting in these, wait for a pullback. And I don't know when that will be, just being honest, because of the way that they've been running. I mean, oil, if you look right here to the bottom right, oil is up today, nearly 5%. We normally don't see that. And then, oh my gosh, look in the after hour. We broke 83. Oh man, we broke $83 in the after hour. So earlier I was looking at the monthly, and we were going to trigger a buy on the monthly. Y'all, it's go time. It's go time. So we broke my level. I posted this earlier in cheat code. When you see these flat lines, and let me zoom it in so everybody can see this. This flat line right here. Can y'all see this? Because I want to make sure you can see it. You could come off mute or put a 1 in the chat. You see this flat line right here? Yes, no, maybe. Let me see if y'all put something in the chat.
I see
okay,
it.
so I want to make sure y'all are getting this, because so when
Yeah,
you see these, when you see these flat lines on the chart, once the momentum of the stock or the stock hits this, so when price action takes you up until this point, even though we're in a sell and we're going up, price action is going up. Once we hit that line, it triggers us. It triggers a buy. So now in the after hours, price action is actually where this red line is right now. So we've triggered that buy. So let me zoom out and show you this. Once that's triggered on the monthly, if the market was open, this candle would now be green. Once that's triggered, look at the stop loss. It says 89.57, but look what's to the left of the stop loss, where there's nothing but a wick. So that's like you got a hot knife and some butter. It cuts right through it. There's nothing. I mean, look over here. We just got these little candles here. These are wicks. 83.33, and we're at 83.07. So look for tomorrow. Don't know what's going to happen in the overnight with Iran and Israel, but I would be looking. Man, how many dollars today? We did 4% today. 3, 4, 83. If they do something crazy tonight, we could be right here at this flat line tomorrow. Because remember, I told you in cheat code with this software, where you see these flat lines is where price action likes to go. And remember, there's nothing here. We got these wicks, this wick, and then these imbalance candles. In the same way price action went down, price action remembers as it returns. So it'll go back faster. It falls fast, but it can jump up as just as fast. But the only thing I'm seeing on this chart right now, man, I'm seeing a 108, 109. Man, let me look on the weekly. This is on the monthly. So I'm showing you the big picture and how you can make the money. Being out in front of this on tomorrow, because if something happens tonight, we're already at 83, unless you're trading futures. We break 89. We definitely coming to 108. Let me see on the weekly. What's TP1 or TP2 on the weekly? See if it lines up. Look at that. TP2 on the weekly is 109. Wait a minute. So 109, was that flat line? I think it was. So I think it's lining up perfectly. Flat line, 109.55. Look at that. 109, basically 109.9. Please write that down. If you see oil break tonight or tomorrow, 89.57, this is not your favorite radio station. This is putting money in your pocket. Listen, if you see oil break we're going to get a break of these 83, 57 areas, but when we break this area, this is where they're saying set your stop loss because it could possibly break to the downside. But with news and action from the Middle East, the United States possibly getting into this, we can break this. And then the only thing I'm seeing is right here, 102.35. And then boom, right here to 109. So now if I go back to the weekly and we're going big candles to small candles, we're in a buy on the weekly. We're in a buy on the monthly now, which takes a long time. And look at this. We have been trading in a range. We have been going from 63, 84, 63 to 84, 60, just up and down, up and down. We're now about to break back out. So once we clear 92, and then we're off into the races. We're off into the races. And I want to zoom this chart out and show you too, there's quite a ways to go on this chart. At one point, oil was all the way, let me go to the monthly. I'll be zooming for a while. But there's a lot, and the reason the USO is moving a lot faster, I think people remember COVID. I think this was COVID. It was 2020. Where was that drop at? 2020. That's 2019. Where was the COVID drop? I was looking at this today. You had the drop from COVID. 2022, 2019. Yeah, right here. So this was COVID. And this is so crazy. I was like, man, I wish I would have been trading this. This was January of 2020. It dropped straight down and then all the way through COVID, just straight down. Because nobody was traveling, nobody was doing anything. But then look at that rebound. You could have traded it both ways. So we got a lot of room to run. At that point, the highs were 124. Before that, you had that crash. Where's the one 2008 crash when Bush was like, the banks are too big to fail. This is all the way back there. Look, 08 crash. Oil was $928 then, crashed all the way down to 196. Man, I don't even, that's just crazy money to think how much money changed hands from here to here. And so we got a lot of room to run. I don't think it'll go. So now let's talk about that Strait of Hormuz. I don't know if you guys are aware. Let me see if I could pull it up on the chart. Strait of Hormuz. If they close the Strait of Hormuz and you hear of the Strait of Hormuz being closed, Strait of Hormuz, man, please get in some calls because that could send oil to the roof. I mean, it could send it to areas where it has not been in forever. Let me see if I can show y'all. Okay, I got a map. I'm going to switch the screen and hope you guys are getting something out of this. I'm going to show you this straight. And you're going to hear this in the news quite a bit coming up here. They've already been talking about it. Iran has been talking about shutting it down. If by any chance you are fortunate enough to hear about this strait right here, this is where the oil comes through. Millions of barrels of oil. So you got Iran, Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Egypt's over here, and Israel's way over here. So they're flying over and bombing Iran. And so the reason they need the United States, I'll just explain that since we're here. This is Tehran. Israel's over here. You got Jerusalem, you got Tel Aviv. They don't have the ability to stay in the air long enough to do all the missions that they need. So the reason they need us is to close the gap. We have aircraft that can refuel in sight, in the air, and keep the war going longer and keep their what's the phrase they want to call it? The theater going. They call it the theater of war. For those of y'all that don't know, I served with the 82nd Airborne, and They basically have what they call a sink. It's a big old room with the television screens, and there they call it the theater of war. That's where they run the whole thing. So Israel needs United States for those refueling planes, and they also need us for the bunker busters. They don't have that. And so without that capability, they won't be successful with the hits and the strikes that they want on Iran. But the worst things get, or the badder they get, if this strait gets shut down, this is where all of our oil comes through. You got Iraq, you got Kuwait, you got Iran. And then look right here, the United Arab Emirates. All of our oil comes through here. So if they shut this down, we're done. I mean, our oil will be so expensive. So the oil comes through here, comes around this strait, it comes back out into the Gulf, it comes through here, and it goes up through here. There's a little bitty strait. Where is it at? It goes through the Suez Canal. This is crazy how we get oil. I don't think most people know this, so I hope people go back and watch this. And then it comes out over here. When it comes out over here, they come all through here, Gibraltar, and then the ships come over to America. There's a port in Jacksonville. There's a port in Miami. There's a port in North Carolina. That's how we get our oil. And then for that oil going to California, they go through the Panama Canal. That's why President Trump was talking about, we built the canal and we need the canal, because they're not going to go all the way around South America. They just cut through the Panama Canal and drop it right over there. So this is why this is so important. So if you hear about the Strait of Hormuz being shut down or closed, anything like that, I mean, calls will print. Any questions about that before we go on, or what I've talked about so far? Because I can go on and on, but I want to make sure you guys are getting what I'm saying, understand the importance of this landscape and what's going on. No questions? Okay, I'm going to show you one more thing before we go on. Let me see if I can show you guys this, and this will make things a little bit. Okay, got it right here. So this will probably be one of the classes. You'd be like, man, he went over some crazy stuff. But I want to show you the bunker buster bomb. So you're going to be hearing this. President Trump will probably be going to Congress, to the American people, or he might just launch, knowing our president, we don't know what he's going to do. But these are the bombs that's needed for the mission to be successful. We have the best. These bombs weigh 33,000 pounds. And so this is why Netanyahu is asking Donald Trump, look, they need a crane. Look at that. They need a crane. They need a crane to lift that bomb. If that thing fall on you, you're done. Oh, and they got it right here. It says what to know about bunker buster bombs in Iran's Fordo nuclear site. So without these bombs, they cannot get into that other nuclear site. So these bombs right here, when they come in at an angle, and when they go into the ground, they turn straight down. They'll go down 30 or 40 seconds. Think about that, how deep they're going down into the ground. And then there's a time release. And when that time release goes off, the bomb blows up, burns, and collapses everything under the ground. So yeah, here's a picture of it right here. So they don't explode immediately. And they're designed to do that. And so this is why they need the Americans. This is why, they ain't in love with us. They just need what we got. And so this is what it's about. And then we have the delivery vehicles, the stealth bomber. I mean, it looks like a fly on the radar. So without President Trump, they really can't make it happen. So it's going to be an interesting 48 hours. They were in the Situation Room earlier. There was a lot of news coming in, and now that Iran is saying this is going to be a night to remember. But one thing you just want to keep your eyes on, just listen to see if the Strait of Hormuz is still open. If it is, then we're good. If they say it's closed, I'm going to show you on the chart. I saw something earlier and I was like, there's no way we're going there. But if they start closing off that straight, let me show you on USO. I think the best place to see it is on the weekly. I was looking for the flat lines and the areas on there where, because look how flat we've been. Even with this is when you look at it, and when you zoom it in, you can see the curves. But then look, these are the heights of the market. So when you just look at it without really zooming it out too much, look at TP4. So why would TP4 be 138 and we're at 82? So let's look at TP4. Let's find 138 on the chart. So if I zoom out and come over, I'm looking for 138. 138. Where is 138? That's 127. We got a double top that occurred, but we're looking for 134. 134, 135 area is right here, but look what's right above it. There's a gap. So what I'm thinking is if we get a close of the Strait of Hormuz or something like that, we'll go straight to TP4. But what I saw when I found that on the chart, I'm like, man, these are just imbalance candles. These are just imbalance candles. I mean, this is easy to cut through, especially with news and destruction and all that. But look at that. That gap goes all the way up to 151. So now what I want to do, I want to look on the chart, and I'm going to do it with you guys. We're going to go into the chart, and we're going to see, or into the options chain, and we're going to look at that 150 strike. I haven't looked at it, so you're going to see when I see. But the 150, 130, 100, just take a look at those. And this is kind of how I find, see, that was USO. Today's the 17th. So I would say out to Friday, and then we got to remember Juneteenth is this week. So yeah, we're saying calls. So calls over here, puts over here. Puts mean we're going down, calls mean we're going up. So let's look at 109. Look, so already at 100 for Friday, open interest, 2,700, 1,500 in the volume. I like the volume to be at least 1,000. So I'm already seeing at the 100 strike, the volume I like to see, and the open interest is pretty good. 95, 1,100. These strikes would be good to play. Just check the delta, check the theta. And look, they changed today 150% increase. So you're telling me, okay, 110. The last strike for Friday is 110. It doesn't even go out that far. Let me see tomorrow, the 18th. Now the 18th is, yeah, the 18th. Oh yeah, because Juneteenth. So 85 strike has a lot of volume for tomorrow. And that's where we're looking for that breakout to occur. 1,000 in the open interest contracts is still open, 1,200. I don't see a lot of volume in USO. Honestly, I don't. Unless they're down in the lower strikes, 80. 10,000 in the 82 strike. So this is where you're going to find your options if you're going to do options into the options chain. Let's look at XOM. Anybody have any questions about what we're looking at? Any questions about calls or puts or how I'm finding this? I'm using Webull, but you can go to your options chain on any broker, on TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, Moo, whoever you're using, Robinhood. I'm looking at XOM. This is to Friday. See right here, 20 June. Looking at calls. Yeah, the volume's over here. And see, this is the one I like to trade. I like to trade XOM, the 110. Look, you got 30,000. Right now, that's in the money. That's, wait a minute, XOM, which, let me see where we are right now. Yeah, we're at 114. I got in at 106. Those contracts are now $800. That contract is in the money. So when I say in the money, when I got in at 106, if you buy at the money or in the money, and as it moves, that contract is considered in the money. So right now we're at 114. We're hit 115, then 115 is considered in the money. You could be green, but not be in the money. So everything now from 0 up to 114 is in the money. You hit 115, then 115 is in the money. You hit 116. And so last year when I traded Exxon, I took it from 99. I had the 105 call, and I was in the money all the way up to 118. We started to turn. Those contracts that became, I think, $1,500 each. I didn't want to lose my money. I had 4 of them. Boom, I hit sell and went on my way. But look what I just found when I was doing this. Look at the 120 strike to this Friday. 22,000 in the open interest and 3,500. And that's only 14 cents. Is this right? So they're out here because it's a smaller amount, like 14 cents. But what they'll do is they'll buy thousands of those. Let me see real quick if I could do it on Thinkorswim. That's Exxon. So I'm going to do that exact trade. Exxon. We're going to say option. We're going to say June 20th. Already there. And 120. Might grab that one. 120 calls. Over here it says it's 15 cents. So I'm going to say 200. So 200 contracts would cost me $3,000. We moved from 114 to 120. $3,000 becomes $31,000. If you have $5,000, let me see, let's say 400 contracts. And this is kind of dangerous because it's a weekly. I like more time. $6,000 becomes 61,000. Let's look at this on the chart. Now, everybody understand what I'm doing? So it's building the trade. So I don't just jump in trades anymore. I like to look at the chart, see what the chart is saying. I like to go back, then look at that on the chart and see, well, where is 120, and figure out, well, why are they sitting in 120? And so in doing all that, it makes the trade a safer trade. I feel more comfortable sitting in the trade because I've done my research. I know how much I need to put in it. I know what it's going to become. And then I'm not going to be in 400 contracts the whole way. So let's say tomorrow morning, it's already 115, 116. So now those contracts are going to be a little bit more. I grab 400, and then, man, this thing, I'm on the weekly. This is okay, here we go. So 127 is TP1 on XM. So I'm 134, 130, 142. Good Lord, this thing is getting ready to go. But you can always scale out. So let's say you got 400 contracts, just get out 50 or 100 at a time. So as it's going up, you're taking profit. You always want to scale out of your contracts, a quarter at a time. So you definitely don't want to hold 400 contracts. I wouldn't. Divide that bad boy by 4 and just get out 100, 100, 100. And then you might say, well, I'm going to take 50 and then leave maybe 50 runners or 10 runners or 20 runners or whatever. That way you get out with profit. Let me look. So XOM, oh, you know what? I know why they did that. Last year, right here. No, no, no. Yes, this is 2024. When did I run it up? It was March. No, it was 2024. Let me do the daily. No, yeah, February. That's the run. Okay, I got it. I know why they're doing the 120. Last year when it ran, it came off of this double bottom at $90 and it ran. And if you look at how it's been running, it'll give you a good $5 to $10 run and then pull back. Right here, we got that. What is that pattern? That gravestone doji pattern, and we topped out and came back double top, and we just been kind of trading sideways, but we never really broke out that 120 level and kept going. So it's just been kind of up and down. And now with all this news, if you look back, that's going to be all-time highs. That's going to be all-time highs, and it's really looking to break this range, break out of this range. We had and if you look, it's been a higher high, just a little bit. When I traded it last year, we got to 118, came down, consolidated, traded sideways. Then look, we got up to 123, had a lower low or a higher low, then a lower low, kind of came back up and tested again. Look, 118. This time when we come back up, we got to 118, 123, lower low, back up to 118. This time it's going to break through. It needed some help, and news always helps. So now they're putting TP1 above the breakout at 123. So look at XOM, expect a breakout above 122.98, basically 123. Please write that down. If you see XOM clear 118, these wicks, 120, these wicks, it's a higher high. It's just stepping up. Boom, 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 and it's gone. It's gone. So if something crazy happens in the news, the Strait of Hormuz gets closed off, they blow up that bunker, that Fordo bunker, this thing's going to be somewhere up here. And so now they're sitting in the 120s till this Friday. So they're expecting this to happen tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday, which makes it kind of dangerous because we've got a holiday and you're sitting in a bunch of contracts for thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars. And you're like, well, when can I take my profit? You can't take it on Thursday. And then it could come back down before the market opens on Friday. So this is this is like a one-day deal, honestly, on this one or any of this, because I wouldn't really be risky with a lot of money and holding stuff through the holiday unless you're already up like I am, because I got in down at 106. So I've already got the increase from 106 up to 114. In that case, it's not going to fall all the way back down there. You know what I'm saying? So I could be a little bit more risky, but if you're just getting in and establishing a position tomorrow in some of these, be very, very careful. 102, honestly, was the entry right down here. 102, 101, boom, was the entry. And the reason I say it's not going to come back down here, it's just too much news right now. So anybody that got in last week when I was showing those, hey, getting in XOM, that was the time. And we're above the 200. So remember, anytime we're above the 200 daily or the 200 moving average, trade it up. Anytime we're below it, trade it down. Let me see, CVX, Chevron. I'm looking for the gaps to be closed up to 153. More news or good momentum. We had 11 million in the volume today. We could possibly cover, man, that's a big move. Man, okay, so 140, we're at 150 basically now, up to 154, all the way up to 160. That's a good one right there. Honestly, Chevron looks really good. I mean, because those gaps are like magnets. You hear me say that all the time. Those gaps are like magnets. And that's kind of what I got on those. I want to show you real quickly too. We're at 742. And somebody's got to have a question. I want to show you the SPY. And the market is still, oh wow, SPY fell in the after hour. So let me go to the extended hour. We're a little red. I got in some puts today because I'm thinking if an attack or something happens, then the market's going to come down. Let me see the squeeze and the swing starting to roll over. We were coming up, and now we're starting to roll over. This is on the 5-minute. We bounced right off of that flat line. 197.42. We already broke that. We're down. Oh, I didn't go to the extended hours. I'm like, well, I can't see it. There we go. The extended hours. Okay. Wow. Okay. When did that post come out? When did this start to fall? That message came out at 5. Yeah, so that message came out from Iran right about here at 5 o'clock, 1700. And from there, it just went down. They're trying to recover. But what I'm seeing on the SPY for the rest of the week, if we get bad news, remember, y'all, we were thinking news was going to take us up. And just like news can take you up, news can bring you down, especially if it's bad news and war and all that. The TPs for the SPY 3-day, I think we can see it on the 4-hour. There we go. I want to see those TPs to the downside. They're taking us back down below the 200-day moving average, which is 577, and we're going to fill this gap. If things get squirty, things start happening real badly overseas, this, let me come out of the extended hours, it'll be clearer. The gap right here from 585, there's a gap all the way down to 581, and then look, there's another gap that starts at 575, bringing us below the 200-day moving average. It closes right here at roughly 564. So that's a nice move down. And if things really get cooking, look at the flat line right here on cheat code. That gap right there, we could be at 556.81 by Monday or over the weekend. So if you hear some really, really bad news, things going on, these gaps will get filled. And they normally always do, whether it's news or just a normal cycle of the market. But that's a big move down. I mean, from 596 all the way down to this flat line of 550, what is that, 556? Yeah, $40 move or so. So that's a lot of money. And then Bitcoin kind of turned around. It's following the NASDAQ. The US dollar is collapsing. It finally found some support, but it's been dropping like a rock. It got all the way down to 97. So it's a lot going on the SPX daily. Let me see. SPX is giving me down too, all the way back down to 57.75 on the SPX. And that brings us back to the levels that we hit back in May 23rd. And then right below that, there's another gap. So if we come down here, don't expect it just to stop on a dime. We could fill this gap all the way back down to 56.89. 56.89. QQQs real quick. Same thing. Same way this stuff went up, it'll come right back. So basically, you see the flat lines, QQQ, that's 479. You could do that without even charting. You fill this gap, boom, you hit this flat line, you bounce. If you don't bounce, boom, you come to this flat line. You don't bounce there, another gap here, 443. and we go the other way. At some point, we'll find support. Normally, these flat lines are support. And so even without charting it, I just look for the flat lines and cheat code, look for the gaps, and that's where price action will more than likely come to. On Tesla, we're down $2 in the after hour. It's been up, down, and all around. It's been kind of just ranging, not really doing a whole lot. If you look over the last few days, just kind of going sideways, So we need a break up or a breakdown. Anybody that got in core weave, congratulations. That thing has been running. It's been running like crazy. First Solar, they lost their credits that the government's been giving. Those are going to be stopped in 2028. And First Solar fell like $43 today. Some people are trying to catch a falling knife and got in. And I would say let it settle. It's like out on an island right now in the middle of nowhere by itself. With everything that's going on overseas, we could possibly get this down to 120. There's nothing over here that'll really stop it. We could possibly get, I would say 120, 121. If we get bad news, I don't see why this would hold up. And I don't see why it would retract and go the other way if the whole market is going down. Another easy play, Lockheed Martin. Anytime we go to war, look at Lockheed Martin. It's up $4 in the after hours. It was up $12 today. They're the ones making the bullets. They're the ones making the rockets. They're the ones making the tanks. And so look for Lockheed Martin to do big things. Let me see. Regular trading hours. Are we below the 200? I wouldn't think that we would be. We are below the 200. Okay. When did we come below the 200? December. Okay, we tested the bottoms. Oh, man. Okay, so we were all the way up 600? And I've never traded Lockheed. I think I got some lines on the chart. I may have charted it, but I don't think I've ever traded this. But it's on sale. If it was at 600, and then we got a war starting. The TPs are still pointing down. Let me see the weeklies. Maybe they're up. Yep, there we go. That's the way we want to see it. Okay. Lockheed Martin. 600 was October 24. November was the election. So it was falling before the election. Know what happened to make it? Let me see. Lockheed Martin is set to continue the Golden Dome Missile Defense Initiative, emphasizing space-based interceptors and directed energy weapons. Okay, including PAC-3 missiles and THAAD interceptors. Directed energy weapons. Okay. So I would say look for a break of the 200, which is pointing down. I think it's going to level itself out. Let me see. Where's the Bollinger Bands? The Bollinger Bands. Wait a minute. How do I get the Bollinger Bands? I want to see this with the Bollinger Bands real quick. Oh, yeah. So with the Bollinger Bands, it tells me where the stock can go. Normally, when they hit that first cloud, they bounce. I can see us coming up to, looks like 539. 539, and see how it's starting to push in. Look over here. When we touched, we bounced, we hit that gray, we come down, gray, come down. So if we hit that gray and come down, we just be coming back to about 527. Here, we got a lot of momentum to the upside. it not only hit the gray and kept going, it expanded to the upside. We might get that type of maneuver where this opens out. But if you look here, this was tight and it went up quickly. We could get the same type of explosive maneuver. I don't know what happened over here. July 29, 2024. Was that earnings? July 2024, July 24th, 23rd. So when was this? Yep, that was earnings. That was earnings, and looks like they beat earnings. So that was like earnings time frame. Looks like. Yeah. July 23rd, 2024, surprise beat by 10%, and boom, it took off. And then I don't know what happened here. October 22, that was earnings, and then they fell. So, but look out for Lockheed Martin. I can see it breaking the 200 at 493. TP1 is 529. TP2 is 557. And let me see, Lockheed Martin, LMT. I'm going to look at it real quick, LMT. Let me see, open interest on it, and we're done. Let me share the screen real quick. Anybody have any questions about what we're seeing, what we're doing? We're going to look at the options train for Lockheed Martin real quick.
For Lockheed Martin, you would do a 500 call off, like a 520 call on that.
That's what I'm getting ready to see, because, man, it looks like
It's at 484 now.
484. I'm trying to see. I would definitely go out a ways. I wouldn't do anything in June. So maybe August 15th, give it some time. We were looking at that first TP. I'm just trying to see where they're sitting. I don't really see. Maybe they're going to be closer. Let me see. July, not the 4th of July, July 11th. Don't see a lot of volume in Lockheed Martin. They can't be expecting that to move this quick. Let me see. We're at 479, so basically 480. Looks like they're sitting at the 500. That's where I'm seeing volume. And that's to the end of this month. And that contract is $300. 1200. That's where I'm seeing the most volume. Surprise. Let me see this week. I know nobody's sitting in this week. Maybe they are. They were already there. Yeah, the 490. The 490 is 230 for this Friday, and 1300. I wouldn't do that. I mean, it's just not enough time for me personally to put my hard-earned money at risk. I'm just telling you, the 500. I don't know. I mean, I would rather trade the oil. I would look at this longer. Like, I might do a leap on this and try and get it back to 600. Let me see, January 26. I bet you they're out there. Let me see the 600. Yeah, see, look, bam, found them. They're in the leaps. They're in the leaps. This is the way, and see, this is the dark pool. So you see the open interest, but you don't see a lot of volume. They're sitting in the 600 because they know it's going back, and they're sitting in the 540s. 1,000 in the open end. Look at that. They're doing leaps, and I bet you they're in the 2027s too. Let me see, 2026, January 2027. Not a lot of volume in 2027, but they're definitely sitting out in January. So they're giving themselves some time. So I would say if you want to play Lockheed Martin, not financial advice, but I would give myself some time. The big boys are giving themselves time. And look where you see the most interest at the 540. So we're going to look at the 540 and we are done for tonight. And I'll take some questions. But the 540 on the chart. And this is how I find the plays. This is how I find what I want to get in. This is how I find what I'm going to trade. And then we're going to start up a whole nother session in August. So if you're here up to that time, you kind of learn some of the lingo and how things kind of go. Let me turn off this Bollinger Band. So 540, they were sitting in the 540. Oh, looky, 485. There's a gap. Okay, 45, there's a gap. So that's going to close probably quickly with news. 540, 495, 540. So they're sitting 540 right here. Not real sure why they'd be sitting there, but that's the level. Well, it's the bottom of those imbalance candles, and it's 50% of this sell candle. Roughly 50%. And where are the TPs? One more time. I think it was the 4 hours. That's TP2. So take it and do what you want with it, but I'm going to stick more to the oil, SPY, SPX, QQQ puts. Very easy to trade. Oh, they're looking to break over this range. 540. It's lining up right there. Boom, 560. Looks like it wants to go. I want to see it clear the 200-day moving average first. Anybody have any questions? Any questions at all? You guys have been really quiet.
The triple Qs, how you feel about them on the puts? How far you think they're gonna drop on that?
We got the gap fill on the Qs, just like the SPY. And with the Qs, the contracts are cheap. Looks like we got a head and shoulders pattern going, or possible M forming. Let me see. It could be an M. Up, down, up, down. 512. The entry to the downside that they have on here right now is 526.92. So if we break that, start looking, and we're not that far. We're at 529. We break this level, we got 524. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a big drop, because when you look at this on the 4 hour and you see this is most of the support, 414. But I think we're going to fill these gaps, honestly. If they start acting a fool, and they've already started, you know, I think these gaps are up for grabs. And the gaps bring me all the way to 483. These gaps bring me to 488. Because on the large indices, gaps normally always get filled. It's just a matter of when are they going to get filled? Is there going to be enough bad news and enough people willing to sell to get me down here? And the 200-day moving average is back at the 500. So I think, honestly, a 500 put out to like the 27th, not this week. I mean, unless you just see something moving tomorrow, a $500 put might be the way to go. And you can day trade it. I mean, y'all, you don't have to hold it. You can buy time, but if that thing gets up in profit, take your money. I mean, you don't have to, just because you got something to January doesn't mean you got to hold it to January. I take stuff all the time. I closed my Starbucks today. It was up 67%. So there's no rule that says you have to just sit in something because you bought time, Any other questions? Anybody? Miss Brittany, Larry, Kadeen.
No.
Uh, hey, everybody. So
Just
I hope, go ahead.
no, just listening, just learning.
Okay. And like I said, after the summer, I'm going to start another entry level class. It'll go the beginning of August, September, at least those 2 months. And so for now, just kind of listen, kind of catch the lingo, what's going on. And we'll go through step by step too. Anybody that needs one-on-one, how to set up an account, or if you want to get started before then, you just want 101, just reach out. I'll put my number in the chat, or you can hit me in the WhatsApp group, and we can do that anytime, and get you going, because we don't want to. I want to move as fast as you want to move. So, and that's what it's all about. But yeah, just be aware of the oil, because this right now could be our biggest breadwinner. I was up really big today. I took some calls, XOM. I closed those out. Literally, I'm just taking them up and out each day, because I don't know what's going to happen the next day. And so you can literally get in those, find your support, find your resistance, and just take them up, get your money, and get out. Put your stop loss on. Trade everything. Be careful. Trade with your stop loss on. Don't just open positions and not pay attention. Know what's going on with your positions, and protect your capital. And that's kind of it what I have for tonight. But we'll see what happens in the news, and I'm really just praying for that area. I hate to see people getting bombed, and but the Bible says, it'll be nation against nation, and brother against brother, sister against sister. It's Matthew. And so we're literally living in a time when we can see the Bible play out before our very eyes. And I always hear people say, oh, the Bible's not real. I don't believe that. Well, just walk outside. It talks about pestilence. We just went through COVID and all this stuff. And so we're literally living out the last days. And so it's a good time to be alive, and it's a great time to be investing and saving and building and doing things with your family, support each other, help each other. As positive as you can during a negative time. And God's going to bless what we're doing. He told us to count up the cost. And he told us, when we're building, think about what you're building, and then don't show up half-cocked, but show up ready to go all in. And that's what these classes are about. It's giving you the ability to go all in, and to go in with comfort and knowing that, hey, I prepared myself, and I'm getting oil. Oil is flying. Man, you can go in and be like, listen, think about this. And I always talk about the psychology of the market, and we're 5 minutes over, but I'm going to be 1 minute more. Do you honestly think that the supreme leader of Iran and Netanyahu are going to agree this week? And if not, you can buy some oil. So you have to think about the psychology of it. Do you think that Donald Trump is going to help Israel? Then you can buy some more. So you have to think about it like that too. And when you think about it like that too,
I just saw a news article where Trump has just said that they have complete control over the skies over Iran as of right now, the United States.
Yeah, we do, because they sent in 2 carrier groups. So let me show y'all this. Most people have no idea what a carrier group is. When we say, so people that have served in the military, when they say they sent a carrier group, or they sent a different, they think it's just one ship. Let me show you this, and then we are done. Navy carrier group, or Navy strike group. It's called a strike group, Navy strike group. Somebody's going to be surprised, because they're going to be like, you mean it's that? It ain't no joke. So when you send, let me show you, let me hit scan. Here we go. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Ernest probably has seen it. Okay, let me.
I know
let me switch the screen. I'm gonna show y'all this, and we done. I'm about to take my wife. We about to go grab some food. I want some oysters or something. But let me show you this Navy Strike Group. So this is why we own the sky. This is why we own everywhere we go, because everywhere that these carriers are, that's considered United States soil. You touch one of these carriers and you're finished. I mean, you're not even going to get close. This is an entire strike group right here. Let's see, is it going to show me all these ships? So it's not just one ship. It's not letting me enlarge it.
And Anthony, they're showing the AWACS right there. The AWACS is right in front of it, the satellite right there.
Yep. And so when you put these, there we go. So that's the group. You got your AWACS, you got your fighters, you got your carrier, you got your ship tenders. All of this is in one group. On the Navy ship, you got like 5,000 people, 3,000 people. You got 2 destroyers in the back. You can fire a missile from a destroyer from Virginia Beach and blow up everything in downtown Orlando. I mean, in downtown LA, and never leave Virginia Beach. That's how powerful these things are. These jets.
It's a submarine nearby too.
Say again? Oh yeah. The submarines. Yeah. So a Navy strike group, whenever they send in this amount of firepower, they're not playing around. You know, so we own where we go, and if the United States is supporting this matter, then you can believe that it's going to get done. You know, it's going to get done. And a lot of people are upset because Trump said, well, I'm not a war president. You know, I'm not going to war. You know, I'm going to cut the debt. And then you do the big, beautiful bill. So it's like he's being hypocritical. Here you go, right here. And you can't see the sub, but yeah, it might be up. They may have brought it up. But look at this. I mean, all these are airplanes. Not just any airplanes, the best airplane, Lockheed Martin, all these. That's why their stock is going up. So that's what's going on. Of course, we own the air. I mean, we own the air everywhere we go. And so it's on and popping. So y'all just be prayerful and thank God that you live in America and that things are as good as they are, because it can change in an instance. So God bless you guys.
You need to also start charting Raytheon, because when I was in the first Gulf War, Raytheon stock went through the roof because the Patriot missile system is a Raytheon product.
I couldn't remember all of them. So if you can think of anything, Lockheed Martin, Heidelberg, Raytheon, yeah, put it in the chat, because I can just Google them, but I don't remember all those stocks at all. Yeah. Well, cool, guys. Hopefully y'all got something out of this, and let's trade this oil. Trade the hottest thing while it's hot. When it's cold, it's cold. But listen, when it gets ready to retreat, I'm trading it down too. Trade it both ways. And you don't need to looking at anything else right now. So we trade it up, trade it down, and we'll see what happens. Well, God bless y'all. Have a good evening. We're about to go to dinner. I'll see you guys on Sunday.
All right,
anybody needs, have a good evening.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys take care.